A huge ship in the desert is speeding, and bizarre monsters are rapidly approaching behind the huge boat. Soon the monster began to hit the ship. The crew was caught unawares by the monster's horns pierced. The man was also smashed into the desert by the ship's tumbling cargo, and his life is unknown. In front of it, the absolute power of the huge ship seems particularly weak. The story goes back to Earth, where a team received a mission to the desert of no man's land. They were ordered to search for the B team that disappeared in the desert. After confirming the last signal point of Team B, they reloaded and set off. When they arrived at their destination, they were still amazed that several tons of armored vehicles had disappeared. A huge weird storm in the distance is rapidly approaching, and soon the rapid storm swept through the entire squad. In the middle of the storm, there were occasional flashes of blue lightning. The squad traveled to some monoliths, which seemed to be activated under the urging of lightning. Along with the lightning that exploded, a barrier and mysterious symbols suddenly appeared. A cliff appeared before them, and the armored car fell directly into it. After 3.5 circles of tumbling forward with a difficulty factor of 3.2, the armored car fell back into a vast desert. Captain Natalie confirmed the team's safety, compared with the map, but found that the map was not marked on the far side of the strange mountain peak. What's worse is that the radio, including the compass and satellite, is not moving at all. At this time, a team member found the missing B-team armored vehicles, but the strange thing was that there was no trace of anyone else except for a charred soldier, except for a large number of shell casings scattered on the ground to prove that they had gone through a big battle. They found nothing. The team decided to continue to go, but not long after driving, they found the remains of a huge skeleton. This scene of transcendent reality shocked them. The squad's snipers spotted movement in the sand behind them and were approaching them. Natalie sensed the seriousness of the problem and called all the team members to the car. Then she turned the Gatling towards the unknown creature and started shooting, but the monster overturned another car. The monster revealed its true face, a huge dragon-type creature with 2 hideous horns. Panicked, they fired countless bullets, but modern weaponry could not produce any effective damage to the unknown creature in front of them. The driver started the vehicle in time to save the last member of the team, and they fled as fast as they could. The monster was getting closer, so Natalie asked her teammates to give her rocket launchers. The words just fell. They were also toppled by the monster. One of the soldiers just climbed out of the car, was behind the monster's horns, directly pierced his body. With his last strength, he pulled out the grenade's pull ring. The explosion sounded, but unfortunately, the monster was still unharmed. Natalie had to escape with her team into a rocky cave, successfully used the narrow cave entrance to block the huge monster. The monster left in anger after several attempts, even breaking one of its horns. In the cavern, Natalie had just calmed the near-collapsed team. The sniper shot one of the spider's eyes in time to save Natalie. The rest of the team hit back the spider monster, and the other team members had just taken out their medical kits and were ready to treat her. Just outside the cavern, one of the team members was tangled in the spider's silk and pulled into midair. A long time later, it took for Natalie to wake up. She struggled to tear open the spider's silk cocoon. Looking around are human bones. Even more unfortunate was the fact that all her teammates were also killed. She was caught in a spider's nest, and Natalie, who was looking around for a way out, finally found another surviving teammate. She with the teammate continued to find a way out, but the flare's light also attracted a spider monster. Her only teammate was also swept away by the spider monster. The grieving Natalie roared and took out portable oxygen. After using the flame to force back the spider monster, she crawled smoothly towards the cave entrance. Half of her body was already poking out of the hole. The spider's tentacles tie into her calf. Natalie was once again in a desperate situation. She was dragged into the spider's lair by the spider's tentacles. She was about to die when she used the bullets in her pocket, using the flames burning on the spider monster, and managed to break free of the spider monster's tentacles to climb out of the cave. Natalie first took off her shirt and touched her body, and she was afraid that the spider monster in her body to lay eggs. At the same time, more spiders appeared at the edge of the cavern. Just as Natalie tried to escape, she discovered that the spiders were afraid of sunlight. After a short rest, she uses gunpowder to stop the injury on her leg temporarily and once again sets out to find her way home. Natalie dropped a stone into the desert. The dragon monster with horns immediately appeared, but fortunately did not find her. It seems that there is no way out of the desert. Natalie did not give up and continued to investigate the discovery of an abandoned shipyard. After all, having experienced the unthinkable, for the appearance of ships in the desert, she does not feel strange anymore. Searching in the cabin, she heard movement around her, and just as she was alert, She pulled out her dagger and was held hostage by the man who suddenly appeared behind her. Natalie resisted and managed to wound the man but was finally knocked unconscious by him. The man tied Natalie's hands and took her return to his camp. Natalie tried to communicate with the strange man, but he stopped her immediately. Because the day gets dark means that the spiders are active. Natalie's side has also been waiting for the right time. So the next day when the man went out to explore back, Natalie took advantage of his inattention a stick to knock out the man, the same way to subdue the man. But the man laughed. The next moment the man jumped and freed his hands, and they wrestled again. Natalie and the man fought to a standstill. In the fight they fell down the hill and the man accidentally fell into the cave of the spider monster. The noise attracted countless spider monsters underneath, and the man was about to fall into the monster's mouth and become food. Natalie decisively reached out to pull out the man. This allows them to reconcile with each other and unite the front finally. The only voice communication barrier was also lifted smoothly. Through gestures, Natalie learned that the man was also ready to go to the distant mountain peaks. But the first obstacle is the monster in the desert. Natalie also learns through the man that the monster is called a horned dragon. The man has an idea and takes Natalie back to the lair he calls the shadow spider. After the man's vivid body language, Natalie understood that the man wanted to use the poisonous spines of the shadow spider to deal with the horned dragon in the desert. But the key question now was how to get the stinger. The man looked at Natalie and smiled shyly. This second, Natalie sang to the spider nest. The beautiful song instantly attracted a single shadow spider. Natalie ran desperately to bring the shadow spider to the set trap. Shadow spider's body was physically restrained by traps and he leaped from the rock. Raising his knife, he slashes the shadow spider's head in half. Then with a leap, he cuts off the stinger. Natalie succeeds returning to the camp with the stinger in her arms before all the spiders come after her. In the camp, Natalie also learned that the man is a monster hunter. The man then took out the stinger and tied it to the bow and arrow. They came to the abandoned shipyard and started their plan to hunt the horned dragon. Natalie also updated her weapons and equipment. Suit with enchanted weapons. Hunting time began as the machine shot a barrel, and the horned dragon was successfully attracted to it. Natalie and they ran quickly towards the other side, but the horned dragon very sensitive-eyed also find them. The hunter took the initiative to act as bait to attract the horned dragon and successfully shot the poisoned arrow into the eyes of the horned dragon. He was also sent flying several meters by the tail of the horned dragon, and Natalie managed to attract the dragon with the Gatling on the car. When the horned dragon approaching the bullet is also used up. Fortunately, the toxicity of this poisonous sting kicked in, and the horned dragon staggered, and his vision became blurred. Natalie seized the opportunity to shoot the rocket launcher. The horned dragon came out of the smoke unharmed directly. Natalie, along with the car, flies out. The hunter appeared at the top of the dragon's head and thrust his knife into it in a fury. Horned dragon, in great pain, directly through him. He hit the rocks hard and life and death is not yet known. Looking at the monster still standing firm, Natalie used the traction rope in hand to come to the top of the horned dragon's head again. With the horned dragon howling in pain, Natalie used all her strength to press the knife in completely. The horned dragon's pupils began to lax. The horrible beast finally fell. However, this is just the beginning. Natalie dragged the dying hunter walking in the vast desert. With a sandstorm about to hit, Natalie had to set up camp. Watching the hunter's injuries worsen, she could only use the available equipment to heal him. Natalie stabbed the device into his chest. By the next day, he had miraculously come to life, and they continued their journey. Finally, they arrived at an oasis in the desert, where a group of herbivorous dorsal armored dragons lived. Natalie was just about to drink water when the sand dragon came out of the sand. The hunter was prepared, turned around, and chopped off the head of the sand dragon with a knife. Now the water and food are available, and they are happy to have a full meal. To the night is resting, they are awakened by the sound. Then they saw the fire in the distance, and countless dorsal armored dragons started to flee. Just when they were about to be trampled into meat, a figure fell from the sky. He used a warrior's exclusive skill, the fiery sword technique, to save Natalie at this critical moment. Natalie, of course, could not admit defeat. She took out her enchanted weapon, and the two began to spin in a circle. The hunter was forced to the edge of the cliff by the panic-stricken dorsal armored dragons, and there was nowhere to run. But this time a woman who shouted "Abba Abba" from the sky pulled the hunter in time. Then countless dorsal armored dragons fell into the cliff. Natalie was just about to express her gratitude after the crisis was lifted when the rugged man smiled shyly. Natalie sobered up and found herself in prison, and she realized that these people were the hunter's companions. But the hunter was indifferent to her pleas for help. Natalie broke the lock on the cell, and when she got to the kitchen, Natalie was about to get a kitchen knife to defend herself when a cute little cat suddenly popped out. Natalie was stunned when the hunter appeared in time to pull her away. He took Natalie to the captain, who explained to Natalie in fluent English that he had misunderstood. The captain told Natalie that there were two parallel worlds here and on Earth. A long time ago there were humans from Earth who inadvertently crossed over, and that's when he learned the language of Earth. Natalie continued to ask why he had crossed over. The captain told her his suspicions that it all started with this tower in the distance. This is an unknown relic of an ancient civilization, and the tower opens the door to two worlds that once brought disaster to their world. So this time, he and his companions are here to investigate to close the tower completely. But the biggest problem is that the world's strongest monster, the fire dragon, is stationed in the tower all year round. The fire dragon is almost impossible to kill. Its weakness will only be revealed a moment before the spitting fire. To return to Earth, Natalie joined their team. The next day the kitty flying kisses Natalie, and they set off to the tower. Natalie also saw the entrance to the two worlds, driven by lightning, looming in the background. Just before they reached the monolith, the experienced captain spotted the fire dragon's trail. He ordered the team to scatter and watch for the fire dragon, which unexpectedly fell from the sky. The captain of the hegemony directly to meet the battle, again blazing fire sword method, but the hegemony has not yet a second to be hit back by the fire dragon spewing flames. Hastily returned to the stone monument after, the hunter shot an arrow to use the explosion to cover. Natalie successfully approached the dragon, a set of flowing movements after Natalie wounded the dragon. At the same time, the monolith was also activated by lightning. Irritated fire dragon towards Natalie spewed a mouthful of flame. Natalie fell into the cliff under the impact of the flame. Fortunately, the door between the two worlds was opened at that moment. Natalie fell into the passage and successfully returned to Earth. Her teammates, who had been searching for her, found her in time. Natalie was just carried on the plane. The sky lightning and thunder, and then the figure of the fire dragon in the storm appeared. The fire dragon chased Natalie and came to Earth. The transport plane by the fire dragon bit off. Not far from the armored car saw the situation and immediately returned fire. But in the fire, dragon jets of flame were destroyed. Heavy tanks joined the battlefield before they had time to fire. They were directly lifted by the fire dragon, and the driver was turned into a small snack for the fire dragon. The two fighters followed, and the fire dragon did not let them down. A bite of flame spray ate the plane destroyed. After destroying everything, the fire dragon returned to the ground, roaring in flames proclaiming its invincibility. Natalie was not convinced. She ran toward the fire dragon as fast as she could, used the traction rope to hang onto the wings of the fire dragon after using the enchanted weapons to enrage the dragon. Waiting for the fire dragon to spew flames at the moment will have prepared the high explosive precision shot into the mouth of the fire dragon. The high explosive detonated in the fire dragon's body. The dragon has finally broken defense and fell heavily to the ground. When Natalie felt that finally defeated the fire dragon, the dragon again roared to stand up. The danger was approaching again. The hunter appeared just in time, and arrows tied to the explosives hit the dragon's wound precisely. With a reluctant wail, the invincible fire dragon fell completely this time. Not far away, the Admiral also crossed to Earth. He directly handed the hunter's dragon slayer sword to Natalie. Tell her that the crisis has not been lifted and that the door connecting the two worlds is not closed. The strongest king, the Black Eclipse Dragon, is approaching them, and a new battle and a new story are about to begin.